Today I usually come on at 12:30. We're a little past that right now. But I just wanted to say my name is Buffy and I'm a women's lifestyle creator on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. And also I have two podcasts on this platform. One is Recovering Perfectionist Mama, Grace in Progress, Recovering_Perfectionist_Mama. And it is a psychology channel, which is what I will be diving in today, a psychology topic. And then my second one is Grace and Gavel, Where Truth Meets Compassion. And it is also housed on YouTube. It is a true crime channel, as I am an almost 18-year criminal defense attorney. And so today we are talking about the topic, stop asking for permission and where it actually starts. I had a moment today that stayed with me, and it made me realize how much we carry from earlier parts of our lives. For instance, characteristics that we carry with us even to this day indicate and show that parts of our life sometimes show back up. And we are reminded of who we were back then and who we've become. And sometimes there is change in that. Sometimes there is a little bit of sadness there, a little bit of nostalgia for who we were and what we were dealing with. And I have this analogy where I essentially think that we all are basically children with our little rolly backpacks full of all of our hurt, full of all of our pain that we've carried and we've stuffed in there. And I just imagine all adults like that, because, you really can't get through this life unscathed, unaffected, or in a vacuum, right? Where you experience no pain, no hurt, no frustration, no negative emotions, because that's part of it, right? You take the good with the bad. And so I think a lot of us are still living like we need permission, even if we don't say it out loud anymore. When we were kids, we had to say, may I, can I, should I, would you be mad if I, any number of things that you think about. And I think ultimately, good afternoon, my name is Buffy, and today we're talking about stop asking for permission and where it actually starts. I had a moment today that stayed with me, and it made me realize how much we carry from earlier parts of our lives. And I think a lot of us are still living like we need permission. Welcome, Avery. Welcome. Even if we don't say it out loud anymore. And by that, I mean, you're not saying, can I say this? Should I say this? Can I live my life this way? But it's almost like you want to. Welcome, Penny. Today, we're talking about stop asking for permission and where it actually starts. If you feel like you still need to ask permission to be yourself, you don't. Here's permission to not ask permission, right? Thank you for the like. I appreciate it. And I think a lot of us are living like we still need permission. And I feel like a lot of us are just little children with our little rolly backpacks full of hurt, hoping that someone will see beyond that. Hi, how are you, Penny? Welcome. For those of you that are new, my name's Buffy, and I'm so happy to have you all here. New and returning. So most of us, let's go to the origin of this. Most of us didn't decide to become people pleasers. Life chose that for us because we may have had this certain personality that was attracted to pleasing people. We wanted to be liked. We wanted to be loved. We wanted to do what made people happy because we enjoyed seeing people happy, right? So what we did, we adapted. We did what we needed to do to survive, to keep people happy, keep people calm, keep people at peace. Some people may say, hey, children don't do that, but they do. Children read facial expressions, children read anger, children read all sorts of things. And oftentimes they know when their caregivers are overrun. Welcome. Pinata, welcome. So they read all sorts of signals from their caregivers, and they want to step in and they want to help because that's what children want to do. They want the people caring for them to be happy and safe and protected. And they themselves want to be protected. They don't want to have to deal with conflict. They don't want to have to deal with pain. I'm doing well today. How are you? Pinata, you good? And so a lot of us learned to read facial expressions, voice intonations, heavy footsteps, conflict. We were constantly paying attention. because that was how we kept ourselves safe. Good to hear that, Pinata. Welcome. And so some of you were the easy one. You know, families set roles. Some of you were the easy one. You were the one who didn't have any needs, that was helpful, that took care of others, that kept the peace, right? That person. Some of you were the good one. You were the one that overachieved. You were the one that made the family look good, right? You kept your mouth shut. You did what you had to do. The one who didn't make things harder, right? I was likely that child, but I was also the child who asked a lot of questions because I wanted to know information. I wanted to understand. Look at me now. Here, I'm doing the same exact thing. I'm wanting to understand. I'm wanting to encourage, right? I love people. I love making connections. So you're all welcome here. This is a great space. We have a great community here where people are empathetic and compassionate. What more could you want? You know, thank you so much. I appreciate it, Pinata. And so the other thing too is some of you likely are the strong one in your family. Hello. Twin Ulsters, twin lobsters, welcome. It's kind of hard to see because of the light sometimes, but so you weren't low maintenance, right? You were adapting. Some of you were the strong one and you realized that you are the one that gets things done. And so nobody thinks you need help, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Even the strongest person has struggles. Even the strongest person needs help, right? Family systems can be so confusing and so difficult and so hard to read. You know, there's often infighting in families. I actually have experienced, as an only child, I've actually experienced being kind of separated from my family. And I'm okay with that because ultimately all they brought was drama and frustration and all that. I have someone very close to me that's running for an election and they decided to vote against him because that's just the kind of people that they are. You know, that's just how people are. You have? Definitely, right? It's hard, isn't it? I mean, it's really hard being the good one. It's hard being the one who has to hold everything up and has to act like everything's okay. Being the overachiever, the one who does the good for the family. Welcome, Brazil. Smoker Legend, welcome. Totally understand that. And then the thing is, the more you give to people, the more they want, right? And it's often like a never ending. So ultimately, you weren't low maintenance. You were adapting. You were trying to do what was expected of you. And children rise to the occasion a lot of times, even at their detriment, which is sad if you think about. So let's talk about the emotional cost of all of this. Losing your voice, feeling like you don't have the freedom to say what you need to say, to be honest about your circumstances, to be able to say, hey, I need this, or hey, I want this. Well, who said that you could have needs? Who said that you needed anything? You should be self-sufficient. You should do it on your own. We don't have time for this. Very good. Thank you, Monica. Lauco, how was your day? Was it good? Welcome. And over-explaining. If you are a person that over-explains, this did not come out of the thin air. This came likely because you were likely grilled regularly. You were likely a person who was questioned and re-questioned. The deal that I remember is being questioned and, you know, the whole hurry up kind of thing going on. And then not getting the right answer because it seemed like there was always a right answer. And if you didn't get the right answer, then there were consequences, potential punishment or cold shoulder or ignoring you or any number of things because the person didn't like the response, because the person was sensitive and could not handle your truth. And here's the thing, as adults, we have this beautiful thing called, I don't have to water down my truth to make somebody else comfortable. I don't have to set myself on fire to make someone else warm, right? And that's not a mean thing. It's not a nasty thing. It's a thing that you learn, right? If someone can't handle my truth, that's okay. It's my truth, right? I'm not trying to offend anyone with my truth. I'm not trying to lie to anyone with my truth. I'm not trying to put anyone down. I'm living my truth. You can live your truth, right? And I think we all need to do that. And we don't have to ask permission to already are. You are already this person, right? Live your life, love your life, enjoy your life, right? Be yourself. Because here's the thing. If you are watering yourself down to make others comfortable, you're watering yourself down. You're potentially risking true engagement with people, true relationships, people who will see you for who you are. Don't risk that. The people who are your people will find you. They will find you. They will support you. They will love every aspect of who you are. They're not going to tell you you're too much, you're too little, you're annoying, you're silly, you act crazy. They won't do that. They will be people that encourage you and inspire you and build you up, not tear you down. So that can be extremely difficult to deal with when you have that kind of frenemy and energy. So over-explaining often has its roots in people who were constantly misunderstood as children and beyond. And so they learned to over-explain, or they had this scenario like me where I was constantly asked questions and I felt the need to respond to them, even though oftentimes should I have not answered? Likely. And constantly adjusting based on the temperature of the room, what you think the person wants to hear, again, for safety reasons. And at some point, you stop asking, what do I want? And start asking, what keeps things smooth? What keeps things even without conflict, without drama? I don't do drama. I don't do conflict. I don't do gossip, any of that. I want none of that in my life. So were you the one who tried to keep things calm growing up? If so, say a me if you like, or a one. Yes. Thank you for that. I think that's why a lot of us, I should say, because I'm still in that spot, feel it. We feel it a lot. We feel it and it's still there. And I think that is my aversion to conflict because, I think that's my aversion to conflict because my caregiver could not take anything that she deemed to be negative. So if I would say, can I ask you a question? And I would ask her, I was like, can I ask you a question? You promise not to get mad. She would say, no, I won't get mad. And then I would ask the question and then she would get mad. And so in my mind, that was like, okay, well, I'm going to offend her no matter what I do. Like, how do I avoid this? And then there would be the cold shoulder. There would be the manipulation tactics, the gaslighting, all that stuff, which that's not how you raise a child. So now I've internalized the idea that if I have a conversation with you in which I say something, like, oh, hey, you kind of hurt my feelings yesterday. Like, it takes a lot for me to come to you and say that to you. But if I say that to you, I'm afraid that your reaction is just going to be explosive because that's what was modeled for me. And I think a lot of us have to deal with that. And I think a lot of us are used to those patterns. So we just swallow it, like, I'm not going to deal with this. I'm not going to offend anyone. I'm not going to upset anyone. I just can't right now. I just can't, and you have that scenario. I just can't. And so ultimately, the hardest part isn't stopping the behavior of asking for permission and feeling like you need permission or you're doing something wrong. It's realizing how much of your identity has been built around that. How much of like maladaptive things were you taught that you are unteaching yourself, that you are working towards so that maybe if you have children, you're not passing that to them, And what's even worse is when the caregiver who was with you when you were a child now is trying to pass certain things to them and is even more immature than your children are, right? So that can be a difficult scenario to deal with, and a sad scenario, right? And so you realize how much of things you've internalized. And for me, it's like, I am an attorney, but I do not like conflict still. I just don't. But you know. So this is a 2-part live. So in the next live, I want to talk about what happens when you stop doing this, because this is where it gets uncomfortable. And this is where people are like, oh gosh, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can handle that. Ready? So when you stop explaining yourself, everything changes, right? If you've ever tried to stop over explaining, you already know this isn't just a habit. It's a way of life, right? Not really, but yeah, kind of. So let your words stand on their own. Your words are plenty. You don't need to over explain and try to get them on your side. Your words, you said what you said, right? You said what you said. They can interpret it with offense if they want. Well, thank you, Pinata. I appreciate it. And you don't need permission to be who you already are, right? You're already that person. You're already living that life. You're in the body. That's you, right? So I saw someone from my childhood today, and it reminded me how much people carry quietly, because a lot of people are carrying a lot of different things at once, you know, ailing parents, ailing spouse, any number of things, right? And so ultimately, you are who you are. Live your life unapologetically. As long as you're not hurting people, you're not harming people, you're being authentic to who you are. Get to know yourself better. Enjoy yourself. Realize what your strengths are. Realize what your weaknesses are. Laugh your head off, right? Laugh loudly and proudly. That's what I always say. Because I laugh loudly and proudly, because sometimes I get the giggles and I can't stop laughing, but you know, I'm weird like that. And so ultimately, we are who we are. No one, okay, the person's thinking you should ask for permission. You don't have to ask for permission from anyone. You don't owe anyone an explanation unless you want to give them one, right? You don't have to dumb yourself down. You don't have to pretend you're something that you're not. Be yourself. Your people will find you. You deserve authenticity. You deserve to look at yourself in the mirror and be happy about who you see. Because if you're living the good life, you're treating others well, you're a good person. And you need to embrace that. Don't let others bully you, make you feel poorly, make you feel less than. It's not what it's about. It's about being proud of who you are, where you come from. Because you are a mix of not only your ancestry and the people before you, but you are you, a unique person. Welcome, Paul Marty. Be yourself. Enjoy your life. That's the greatest reward, to enjoy your life, to show your children what it's like to love yourself and to be yourself. Don't put on airs. You don't have to. The real people will find you. And I truly, truly believe that. I truly believe that people are over the fake. And I know there's a lot of fake in our society now. I mean, look at all the people that have reality shows, you know? I don't do fake. I can tell fake from a mile away. Ironically, I've always been that way. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Pinata. I really appreciate you. Welcome, Raul Martin. So yeah, just, be yourself. Enjoy life, embrace life. I tend to live every day. Not necessarily. I don't fake. I don't act. I am who I am from day to day. So like if you were to run into me on the street right now today, you would see my weird, awkward self, because I'm awkward sometimes and I say things that come out wrong and then I worry about it and overthink it. But I am me. And I'm not going to pretend to be something that I'm not. I'm not going to, act like I'm better than other people, just not who I am, and I don't think that you have to buy into that. I think you can be who you are and the right people will find you. It's worked out for me so far. I don't fake. I don't pretend. I don't, blow smoke just to try to seem like I think I'm better than other people. Not my style. I don't have time for it. I don't have effort for it. I just don't, you know. Not always, not always. Being yourself is a gift. You know, we all deserve the right to be ourselves, you know. And so if you guys are interested, I do have 2 podcasts. One is recovering_perfectionist_mom. That's a psychology channel housed on this platform. And the second one is Grace _and_gavel, where truth meets compassion. It is a true crime channel. So if you're interested in that, feel free to check it out. I just want to say thank you so much, guys. You have been fantastic today. I appreciate you. I hope you'll come back and see me again. If you got value, feel free to like and subscribe. I'd love to have you back. You guys have been fantastic. And this has been a really fun live to do. I hope that you got some value. And it was nice to meet all the new people and to see the returning people as well. And I just want to say thank you so much. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. And please come back and see me when you get a chance. I also go live on TikTok Live as well. So thank you so much. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.